Alright, so in today's video we're going to talk about studio monitor placement. There's a lot of confusion online on how they should be set up, how they should be placed, and we're going to weed through all of that and get you all the answers. The key here is to not overthink the placement. It's a lot easier than you think, and I'm going to also show you how you can use your vertical monitors in a horizontal position. I know a lot of you have been asking that as well. So let's get right into it. First things first, let's break down the basics. The monitors that you're most likely going to buy are near field studio monitors, and what that means, they should be placed near yourself. So the proximity of where you place them on your desk should be close to you because they are near field monitors. You don't want to place them back in the back of the room and your desk is forward. No, you want them close to yourself so that you can monitor the way it was intended. Number two, you don't want to place the monitors too close to the wall. You want to leave a little bit of gap to give some space, let the speakers breathe a little bit. And number three, you want to create a perfect triangle from monitor to yourself. So pretend you're sitting right there in front of me. You want to have the distance between the monitors will be exactly the same as the distance between yourself and each monitor. So you're going to create like a perfect triangle, something like this. Now it doesn't have to be an exact science, but you want to create a perfect triangle. I'm sure you've seen those diagrams before. That's something that you want to achieve, and it's fairly easy. The way I do it myself, I just use my arm as a measurement and just make sure that that's perfectly angled. So when I sit down at the desk, I place the studio monitors, and if I go like this and everything seems to be roughly the same, you are good to go. You don't need to use a measuring tape, doesn't need to be exact, but as long as you have a good enough triangle between yourself and the speakers, all the sides are approximately the same length, you should be good to go. All right, so now that you understand the basics of how the monitor should be placed, you got a perfect triangle, you got them set up on your desk, they're near you, they're close to you. You don't want your monitors to sit right on the desk as you see right here. You want to decouple it from the desk. Some monitors have rubber pads on the bottom of it, and that does alleviate some of the rumble you get from the desk, but you do want to lift them up because that brings us to point number two. You want the tweeters over here to be in line with your ears. So right now they are too low. You want to lift them up so that they are in line with your ears. What I normally do is, I don't personally like the risers that lift the monitors up like this. I find I don't know, I just personally don't like it. What I do recommend getting is either a stand for your desk to decouple it and bring it up, or get monitor stands like here. So if I go ahead and place the monitor on our stand right over here, the next thing you gotta make sure is the tweeters over here are actually pointed in the direction of your ears. Not are they only have to be in line, but they also have to be pointed at your ears for optimal monitoring. So what I would usually do is I would just tilt closer to our ears, and we created this perfect triangle for our monitoring, mixing, and mastering sessions. Now, most 9 times out of 10, near-field monitors are set in a vertical format. So I always recommend to use monitors in the way that they were built. But a lot of times there's questions, can you use a vertical format monitor in a horizontal way? And the answer is yes. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate in the comments below, but the answer is yes if done properly. Now, because these monitors were built for a vertical setup, the sweet spot in where you can be is a lot larger than it would be in a horizontal setup. So if I want to like move around and go back and forth, up and down, that's fine in a vertical setup. But once you flip these type of monitors to horizontal, it's going to make that sweet spot smaller. You're gonna have to be really focused on where you're sitting and make sure that you are literally in the middle of the speakers at all times. Otherwise, if you move side to side, that sweet spot is a lot smaller. So if you did wanna take a vertical monitor and put it on its side, you can. Here's how. So when you're moving a vertical monitor over to horizontal format, you wanna make sure that the tweeters are placed in the same direction. Meaning, if I take this monitor over here, you want to make sure that the tweeters are both on the outside or on the inside. Now there's pros and cons for how and which way you want to go with. If you leave the tweeters on the outside, that's going to give you a greater stereo field, which may skew your perception on how wide or how narrow something is. If you want to fix that, you can move your tweeters over on the inside, which will give you a more realistic stereo view on how your mix is sounding, similar to as if it were in a vertical format. So if you are going to go in horizontal format and you don't want a super wide sort of field of view for stereo, flip this around. So by putting the tweeters on the inside on each monitor, you're giving yourself a more accurate stereo field of view as if it were in a vertical format. And once again, you want to angle the monitors so that the tweeters are positioned to your ears as well. Once again, if it is in a horizontal format like this, you're going to want to sort of sit still, because if you start shifting like this, you may get some phase issues. You may not hear certain things. So if you're the type of person who just mixes straight like this is going to work fine. But if you're the type of person who likes to move around, lean back, up, down, side, side, I would definitely recommend to use your monitors in the way that they were intended. If it was vertical, use it in a vertical format. If it was horizontally built, make sure you just put it in a horizontal way. But if you did want to take a vertical monitor to a horizontal position, just keep note that tweeters always have to be placed in the same orientation. So if on the inside, both will be on the inside. On the outside, both will be on the outside. If the tweeters are placed on the outside, you have a wider stereo view. So it may push your stereo a little bit wider than it actually is. So just keep that in mind. And if you want a more accurate stereo field of view in a horizontal format, put the tweeters on the inside and you should be good to go. So that is everything you need to know about studio monitor placement. As a recap, decouple your monitors off the desk. You don't get rumble or anything like that. Make sure the tweeters are in line with your ear. Make sure that the monitors are angled towards your head to create a perfect triangle. Every distance between you and the monitors are roughly approximately the same, and you'll have perfect studio monitor placement. If you have any other further questions, you can let me know down in the comments below. As usual, guys, I hope you learned something from this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Later. Peace.